Well, the doom-mongering is back. I'd wondered where it went, frankly. We'd started to dream of a brighter future. We'd started to contemplate a world where when you turn your TV on in the evening, you're not greeted by a giant picture of Chris Whitty saying, "Next slide, please," as he predicts the death of everyone you hold dear. How silly we were. Sajid Javid stood up in the House of Commons and confirmed that this government reserves the right to become a totalitarian regime whenever it wants to. They may decide to introduce vaccine passports. A winter lockdown is a very real possibility. Mandatory mask wearing could return, and working from home could become a thing again. Of course, if you're in the civil service, then it never really stopped. All in the name of not overwhelming the NHS. Couple of things on this. Sage's modelling is the equivalent of a Michael Fish weather report. We were basically all supposed to be coughing ourselves silly and fighting each other for what scraps of food remain in the smouldering wreckage of Britain by now. We're going to have 100,000 cases a day. Well, we've got a quarter of that, apparently. Their modelling was thrown off by such curious things as not predicting sunshine in August or not expecting the Euros to end. So forgive me for not taking Chris Whitty's slides of terror too seriously. If you're going to make decisions that impact my life, could you do me the common courtesy of getting your stats right, please? The other and most important thing is that the NHS is not going to be overwhelmed. There are some figures that are mysteriously missing from Whitty's slideshows, aren't there? These figures are NHS bed occupancy and availability, published by NHS England and the Nuffield Trust. You can go and look at them. They're freely available online. When it comes to bed occupancy rates, they've basically always hovered between 84 and 90%. That is, until now, where the figure stands at 81%. And 81 is an interesting number, actually, because that's the number of people, the percentage of people aged over 16 who've been double jabbed. So that's with the same vaccine that supposedly has broken the link between catching COVID, being admitted to hospital with it and then dying. So the NHS should not be overwhelmed. Either the vaccine works or it doesn't. And if it does, then the NHS shouldn't be overwhelmed. The only reason we consented to restrictions on our lives was to avoid the Italy-type scenario of people spilling out into hospital corridors. Well, if that isn't going to happen, then the government should get out of our lives, in my opinion. The only thing being overwhelmed here is people like me, who've had enough of this nonsense. It amazes me that the government is rolling the wicket for a winter of discontent, with the constant sword of lockdown Damocles hanging over our heads. They've even already started issuing advice like some activities, such as singing, dancing and exercising, can lead to an increase in transmission, as people are doing these activities which generate particles as they breathe. So if you want to stay healthy, ladies and gents, don't exercise. I'd find the whole thing a lot more palatable if it looked for a single second like members of our government, or indeed society's elite, were in any way concerned about COVID. They're obviously not. The Cabinet was pictured around the table in Downing Street, not a mask in sight. Matt Hancock snogged the face off his top aide while simultaneously telling us not to hug our relatives at Christmas. There was a lovely barbecue at the G7, wasn't there? The kind of barbecue that us plebs aren't allowed to have. Michael Gove managed to go and watch his beloved Chelsea in the Champions League and then amazingly exempt himself from isolation rules. Even recently at the Met Gala, the celebs weren't wearing masks on the red carpet, apart from Kim and Kanye, who tried to introduce Taliban chic into our lives. The only people wearing masks were the staff, of course. Classic. They're always going to find an excuse to restrict our lives. But remember this, it ends when we tell them it ends.
Welcome to the GB News YouTube channel. You can watch us live 24 hours a day, catch up on your favourite shows and join in the conversation in the comments below.
Don't forget to subscribe and you'll never miss any of our exclusive content.